Aita for insulting my husband for what he said about our daughter's BF? My daughter, 17F, recently started dating this boy 17 meters. He is her first BF ever. One of my biggest concerns when my daughter started dating is her getting mistreated. An obvious concern. However, after meeting her BF at one of his baseball games, she met him trough one of her friends in baseball. I realized this was not something I had to be seriously concerned about. He is genuinely one of the sweetest people I have ever met. Every time I see him interact with the coaches, his teammates, his opponents, my daughter, etc., it is always positive. He is just generally a very soft-spoken and kind individual, always positive and happy. I also say this with no ill intent, but he is fairly short and somewhat tubby, which is relevant to my husband's opinion. I obviously do not care about this, as he is a good person and quite clearly treats my daughter well. When my husband met him earlier, however, he did not seem as happy. Once he had left, he told me that he don't think he was right for our daughter. He made comments about him not being man enough. I said that our daughter clearly loves him, and he clearly loves our daughter, and that I'm happy she's with someone we know is going to treat her right. My husband said that he would rather her be with a real man, not some short little gay kid. Said, what would you rather have him be then? Some big macho man that snaps at our daughter? He responded by saying that that would be better than some fat pansy. I told him he was just being an annoying dick to the kid for no reason, other than he doesn't think he's man enough for some stupid arbitrary reason, and that he should be supporting our daughter. He said, if you fine with our daughter dating a fucking pansy, so be it, I guess. Aita for demanding that my fiance's parents change their plans to have a vacation at the same place as our honeymoon? My fiancé and I have our wedding coming up in April. We had brainstormed for a while on where best to spend our honeymoon. We went over the more popular and well-known places, but then landed on a more offbeat destination that I felt would truly be a great place for us to start our life as a married couple. I'm looking forward to it just being the two of us. I'll know he has a really hectic work schedule, and we were going to make the most out of this. A couple of days ago, he told me that his parents had been impressed by how hyped I was about it, and were planning on going there for a vacation too, largely overlapping with our dates. They're staying at the same hotel as us. I was livid. They can go any other time, why now? He said he had suggested that, but his mom said they had taken time off for the wedding too, and it worked well into their plans. Also, that since we're going to be going back, it'll allow them to maybe see us a few times before we leave. I was almost in tears. I was so angry he tried to reassure me, saying they had promised it'll be two separate things, and they won't be inserting themselves in our honeymoon. They want us to enjoy it, and they'd be doing their own thing. Mom, I like her as a soon-to-be Mel, but she can be very clingy and routinely laments how far he, and now us, are from them. So I just have a feeling the two plans are not going to be as independent as he thinks they'll be. I vented about it to my parents too. My mom agreed with me that this isn't right. My dad is more on the fence about it. He doesn't think everything is ruined. I've demanded my fiancé make them change their plans. He says he asked them to. They promised to do their own thing. What can he do? Tell them he doesn't believe them and call them liars. I messed up here and said if that's what it takes. He got quiet. I realized that was too much and sincerely apologized for crossing the line. This has been eating me up. I was envisioning a certain type of honeymoon, and this happened. TIFU by being too nice to my FWB. Been seeing this girl since January, and from the get-go I told her I didn't want a relationship. She agreed and suggested we become FWBs. It was my first time getting into a setup like this, but I gave it a go. Turns out it was pretty much what I needed at this time. All the perks of a relationship minus the emotional attachment. It helped that this girl was good looking, and we even vibed as friends. We would legit meet up sometimes, and not even have sex. Just watch movies and listen to music. One thing about me is I like to surprise my friends and treat them to lunch/dinner sometimes, without planning. Last night we met up for the deed, but before that I took her to this nice place, and surprised her by paying for everything. It's something I do for my guy friends, and they do the same thing too. This morning I woke up and I was blocked everywhere. She left a message telling me she was starting to develop feelings. She knew my boundaries, and couldn't help it, so might as well cut things off to guard her heart. I'm a little bummed because she didn't even let me say my side of things. How I would totally be down for a relationship with her in the long run now. Thing is, we have no mutual friends. My FWB to a fancy dinner. She developed feelings, now I'm blocked everywhere. TIFU by not putting on a condom, leading to ER visit. My 34M girlfriend, 27F, and I have been in the exploratory stage of our relationship for the past couple of months. As we are, our focus discovering more about each other beyond what we knew already from the time before we started dating. A lot of this is sexual, since I've known her for a few years now. One of the kinks I discovered she has is self-pleasure edging instructions. To help her along, for the last couple of weeks I've been sending her joy voice messages/videos that are anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes long, either via FB Messenger or Marco Polo. This has been a tremendous success, and has helped us both get a better read on the other, e.g. how she responds to praise, humiliation, etc. That brings us to this weekend. She bought me a Clone a Willy kit to enhance the future joy that have insertion in them. We decided to put it to use, following the instructions for the most part, but I forgot to put the condom on. When I removed myself from the mold, everything seemed fine. A few hours later when I went to urinate, it was all red and burned when I urinated. We immediately went to the ER. Apparently some of it got into my urethra, as well as under my foreskin because I didn't wear the condom, and some of it was still stuck in the tract. I was treated with some contained laughter. Life. TLDR used to clone a willy but forgot to put the condom on. Some of the silicone went into my penis and led to a very embarrassing ER visit. AITA for telling my stepfamily they are not my real family. I, 27F, have 3 stepsisters. Jen, 33, Kate, 31, and Ann, 30. My dad, Chris, married their mom, Pam, when I was 9, and adopted them. I have never felt close to that part of the family. They are all extroverts, and I honestly always hated staying with them in the chaos of a full house. I'm more of a homebody and like to be with my circle of people. My parents' custody arrangement was me with my mom all year except summer and alternating school breaks. My dad tried his best, but I never meshed in their lives. My mom died in 2020, and in the last few years I have worked to be closer to my dad, and we pretty much talk at least once a week, and I try to visit them so he can be in my kids' lives. My dad and Pam recently decided to update their joint will and make Jen their POA. They decided to split everything 4 ways. My dad owns the house next to what was my grandparents' house, and after they both passed, he inherited their home, so it's basically 2 homes on 1/2-ish acre of land. Currently, Kate is living in my grandparents' old house with her kids. When he told me that I would get 1/4 ownership of the houses and land, I told him I would rather be bought out so I wouldn't be tied to the house or the sisters to inherit his parents' home, and they live in our preferred area. My dad asked me why I didn't want part of my family's history. I told him that after he was gone, my husband and kids would be my only immediate family, and I probably wouldn't be maintaining a relationship with them. He tried to comfort me and told me I had Pam and her girls as part of my family. I told him they didn't count because they aren't my real family. I didn't know he had me on the car speaker, so Pam heard me. Pam got upset and told one of her daughters, who told the other 2, and now they are all upset. They were literally calling and messaging me non-stop, so I had to block them, and are now posting subliminal messages about me on social media. I have other family members reaching out, pressuring me to reconcile with them. My dad is pretty much taking their side, and we haven't spoken in a week and a half. My husband is insisting I should keep the peace and just apologize and do what I want later. But I'm of the mindset of, the truth hurts, but at least I'm being honest. If I knew Pam would be hearing me, I wouldn't have been so blatant. But I don't think I'm wrong by expressing myself. I was diagnosed with PGAD recently. Persistent Genital Arousal Disorder. PGAD stands for Persistent Genital Arousal Disorder. Google it. My doctor thinks it's caused from a slight spinal defect I was born with that turned into mild scoliosis when I hit puberty, and then soon after PGAD, which I was only recently diagnosed with. My doctor thinks the change in my spine may have caused nerve damage in my spinal cord or something, per my last appointment and imaging results, which triggered it. It's nice to know what's wrong with me officially, but also I don't know anyone else with it, and it's obviously hard/awkward to talk about with friends and family. I was going to post about it somewhere on here when I made my account a couple days ago, but kept chickening out. AITA for putting up a clothesline on my front porch. My 23M dryer broke recently. I can't afford to replace it at the moment, so I've been air drying my clothes. The weather has been nice lately, so I decided to hang up a few things to dry on a clothesline I strung up on my front porch. I made a point to only hang up shirts and pants outside because I knew that others would see it, as my front porch is visible to the rest of the neighborhood. Today I came home to a handwritten note on my front door, signed off as, neighborhood name here, saying that my clothesline is disrespectful and bringing down property values. I feel that it's important to note that this is a Habitat for Humanity neighborhood, so I don't feel like property value is all that high to begin with. TIFU by betting on one more hand of blackjack. Milla. This did, in fact, happen today. I was at the casino, playing blackjack, and losing. as one does. There was another woman next to me who was losing a lot more money a lot faster because she kept putting huge money on the side bets and almost nothing paid out. We were joking about hanging hard, ride or die together, etc. Eventually, I'm mostly cleaned out. I have $14 left, and the table minimum is $15, so I guess I can't bet. But the helpful dealer says, "You can bet with that, we won't tell anyone." So I do, and I immediately lose. Oh well, there goes his tip. I hang around for a few more hands to watch how the woman does, and she keeps losing up to $100 per hand. Just as I'm about to leave though, she starts getting upset. She starts telling off the dealer because he let me bet with $14, which completely ruined the shoe and led to her losing hundreds and hundreds of dollars. This bet should have never been allowed, and so they need to, and get her money back. She never explains what they are supposed to do, just that they need to fix it. She demands that the dealer pull up the cameras. She calls over 2 pit bosses. Boy, said everyone around her. At one point she looks at me and says, "Why aren't you saying anything?" As if I have any understanding of what the casino is supposed to do. Eventually I have my fill of listening to a probably drunken asshole, and I discreetly ask one of the pit bosses if I can just leave. The pit boss apologizes and I take off, with no plans to gamble again anytime soon. TLDR. I made a bet just barely under the table minimum because of a gracious dealer, and the other player at the table got absolutely pissed because I apparently ruined the deck for her.